Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Tommy.
Welcome back to all you Regs and to all you Shinies. Welcome to the podcast. This is the podcast. Please, before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button, you hit a like, leave a comment already. Just let us know how you're feeling this week. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media, being Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And if you haven't already, support us on Patreon. Hit that join button. We appreciate all you guys for helping support the podcast. We love you. Hugs and kisses. We do giveaways for our Gungan bosses. I don't know what the giveaway is going to be.
The giveaway is going to be the Lego Rex microfighter. Let me grab it. It's like literally right over here.
Oh.
I wasn't prepared. I got it.
You focusing too much on wearing the helmet. Yeah. Okay.
This
so there's
the
a giveaway.
It's the same
It's
Captain
funny.
Rex that is in the Venator set. So this is going to be a must-have for a lot of people.
Yeah. If you don't want to buy it and you just want to support us, enter to win.
Yep.
What'd you say, Tom?
I said correct, but I said it really, really quietly.
Yeah, all I saw was your mouth move. I was like, am I bugging? All right, Regs and Shinies, if you couldn't tell already, this isn't a green screen. I'm currently off-world. I'm on Batu right now. Verizon got some towers out here somehow. So I'm off-world. I actually have, there are some other travelers. They're visiting with Chewbacca right now. And I'm just chilling at Black Spire. Might fly the Falcon later. Who knows?
Nice.
Dopeness monster.
Dopeness, dude. That's hype. That is so cool. Oh, is our special guest still behind you?
Who?
Our special person who is behind you, who you're just showing Tom?
Chewbacca?
Yes, Jacob.
I literally just pointed to him.
Well, I'm doing this on my phone right now.
Mythosaur moment.
Mythosaur.
So it's like
not only did I say, I said we have some travelers visiting with Chewbacca. I literally said that.
My bad.
This guy.
Bad.
This guy.
So, what's new, fellas? How's things?
We doing good. I was having troubles with roommates. Got it sorted out.
That's good.
I was telling Jax before I got here, I went to Cast Connections today, which is the store I did the vlog on.
Yeah.
If you're a member of the channel, make sure you go check out that vlog. It's for members only. I went, there's a back area to it that only opens every so often called like Mickey's. Oh my gosh, Ray's over there now. That only opens every so often. I went in there, and now Indiana Jones. Okay, I'm bugging. There's too much going on. And I went back there, and this is like, it's kind of like the Disney outlet. If the package is damaged or there's something slightly wrong with the product, then they'll sell it there for like a super big markdown. I got myself a Nexu today from the Creature Den for only $14. So
That's a steal.
An absolute steal. I was super excited to grab that. So yeah, and it's dope. Like you squeeze its like sides, its mouth opens and it roars. If you like pet it, it like purrs, and every so often it just makes noises. It's super dope.
Cool.
That is very cute. That is very nice.
Other than that, this is my first day off in 9 days. Most of my days have been like 9 hours. Tomorrow I got a 10.5-hour day.
Dang.
I was at work until 1:30 last night, so that was cool. I turn the camera around. No, I'm just gonna do this. There's Chewie and Ray over there.
Dang.
That's so cool. Maybe they'll come over and say hi. That would be cool.
I'll be like, I'm communicating with people off world, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that would be. You wouldn't be able to hear them though because of this.
You're like the NPC people though on TikTok, like recording in public. Like it's giving that kind of vibe right now. You're doing like the walk around thing. What they do?
Oh, this is a story. So, oh, that's adorable. So there's a little girl playing with Ray right now, and it's great. But so the other day, for those that don't know, I work in parking and transportation. So I'm out in the parking lot driving the trams, making sure people like park their cars correctly, don't get in accidents. I get yelled at by Uber drivers. It's great. But the other day I saw there's this little girl waiting for her parents to like pack the car, And here, basically the lightsabers that we used to be able to get, like the ones that were just like in hilt, now everything's like an LED saber. Even the cheap ones are LED sabers, so they're super nice. But they have like Anakin and Obi-Wan, and they have Kylo-Ren, and then they have Rey. And the amount of like little girls here I see get like Rey's saber just makes me so happy, because it's like, yes, the generation that those movies were made for are buying and like seeing themselves in this character. And so I'm watching these parents pull the stroller, and this kid has like a Rey saber, and she's just going ham with it in the parking lot, just swinging it and spinning and trying to flower it and just having a grand time. So then I took my glow rod that I used to direct traffic, and I was just like, a Jedi, and I lit it up, and then I fought her with it, and it was great. So
Oh, that's cute.
no, so I might not be working in Star Wars, but I'm making Star Wars happen wherever I am. I did so I stand on the back of the tram and I spiel, which just means I give like the safety instructions. And if you go into Smugglers, Hondo is the person that gives like the instructions like for Smugglers Run. So
Right.
I basically did Hondo's thing in my Hondo voice for the tram, and there's like a bunch of people wearing Star Wars shirts that were like enamored by it, and then like people had no clue what was going on, just looking at me like, so
Cringe.
Can you
Yeah.
potentially do the impression of the safety instructions?
hello, my friends. It's just doing that. And I'm like, as you are waiting to board this tram, wait behind the yellow line. I'm just doing stuff like that.
Maybe with your arms
Or-
still attached.
The wacky Shack spiel. But
Core
no,
moment.
I'm enjoying it a lot here. I might not
Good.
be like, and another thing is I am kind of glad I'm not like working in this space, because I feel like I would get sick of it if I had to be here every day, like unwilling.
Yeah.
Now I just get to skip my way here and be like, yay, I'm going to Batu again. So,
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
but how you
As
guys
for me-
doing?
Oh, you can go tell. My bad.
I went to Toy Hio with Jen and Hybrid over
The
the
guag was
weekend.
good. The
so
guag was great.
Thank you. Definitely go check out the guag if you haven't. That was a lot of fun. And then the next one is the weekend after ICC, so I don't know if I'm gonna go to that one. If I do, it'll be just to record probably. But yeah, so that was a fun vlog. I got some cool action figures. I just recorded my review for this guy who was a very hot topic in the latest
Hey.
episode of the Acolyte. So I was really excited to get him open now. But yeah, just lots of the same. And that's pretty much it. I mean, just work as usual. Jackson, what about
Nice.
yourself?
So right now is my last day off. I take Wednesdays and Thursdays as a day off, and it's honestly nice to have 2 in a row, because it's not like on one you're doing everything and then you're right back to work. So I feel like it's a nice de-stress. But my armor is finally shipping here, which is really, really exciting. But there is an event coming up for the 501st next Saturday. And one of the people ended up reaching out to me and was like, hey, man, I'm really sorry that your suit isn't going to be there. I have an extra Scout Trooper suit. Would you be interested in trying it to see if it fits? And it fit perfectly. It's like really like made for my body type.
Dang.
So I was super, super stoked. So I'm going to be trooping as that. If you are in the Hawaii area and you would like to see a fun 501st event at the Salt Lake City Library, stop by next Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. is when that is going on. It's like a comic giveaway thing, I think, too. So yeah, if you're in the area, check it out. But other than that, hitting the beach, doing some hikes, the huge, nothing crazy. Just trying to think about anything else that was big. Oh, there was something I wanted to mention, because I was in the gym yesterday. I'm getting sick of music, so I'm listening to a lot more podcasts. And I was listening to the Black Series Cantina podcast, and Unusual Mike was talking about how in I think it's a month or two, can't remember, in Washington, him and Zach are going to a convention with a gentleman from another show who's like hosting it. But D. Bradley Baker's going to be there, but the lady who voices Omega is also going to be there. So I'm like, now if she's in the rotation of people that are coming around as guests, and I'll give everyone a slight hint, we're going to have a big ICC thing coming up soon. And that's all I'm going to say. But we're also excited to see all the guests that are being unveiled for ICC. So I'm like, what if that could be a potential thing? They
That'd be
do
cool.
a Bad Batch get together. That would be awesome. I would be so stoked.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Yeah. And they could yeah, that'd be sick.
That would be.
So I mean, do we want to just jump right in? Just talk about the Acolyte or
I'm
Heck
down to
yeah.
jump.
yeah?
Me too, dude. I've
So
got a
first
lot else to
impressions?
say.
First impressions, what do we think of this week's episode?
It was filler. No. Do I think it was filler? Kinda. Dude, I still really, really like it? Yes.
Yeah. Do I think it was as good as the other episodes? No. Is it? I said it was very much a builder episode for what's to happen. So I'm not mad. You're getting that in any show. That isn't something new. Like they had to set up for what was about to occur in the 5th episode.
Yeah. Did you guys I read an interview with the writers of the show where they talked about episode 4 specifically. You guys want to hear what they had to say?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Why not?
So long story short, I guess that the budget for episodes 4 and 5 were combined because it was the same group of writers that wrote those 2 episodes. So I mean, we all kind of knew that it was going to go seamlessly into the next episode.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
that they said that they did the writing for those 2 episodes all together. So they made episode 4 a little shorter because they wanted episode 5 to be a lot more action packed and have a little bit more budget than episode 4 did. They also said that Dave Filoni actually looked at and okayed the scripts for episode 4 and 5. So,
David's woke. No.
and then there was one other thing, which I'm pulling it up now. There was an early draft of the script where Kelnaka would have fought the Master, but then they ended up cutting it to keep the surprise of his death.
Justice for Kilanaka. Justice for my homie.
Yeah,
I
that was
so
crazy.
excited. And then he's just slumped in the chair. And I was like, no. See, this was the worst part. I was at work, so I couldn't watch The Acolyte. So, like, I'm avoiding social media. I'm doing
Yeah.
everything.
You
I'm
just
swiping away every Discord notification. I pull out my phone for 1 second to check the time.
Yeah.
Top message on my phone, Discord. Wow, can't believe Kanaka died. No! So I knew he was gonna die going into the episode. I was just shocked in the way that it happened.
Right.
Yeah, I was before I watched the episode, I had no spoilers because it wasn't a day off. It was like an early release for me. I got out like around like 5-ish. So then no, I got out like around 8. So I was hanging out with my boy Ryan, shout out Ryan. And we were hanging out by the pool, just drinking some brews, just hanging out, having a good time, when I met like a bunch of people from France and from Brazil, and it was like super cool. And we went back to his place and watched the new episode, and it was yeah, when we got to that part, I was just like, oh, the Wookiee's dead, Kilnaka's dead. No.
And they were promoting him so much too. They had the person that killed.
They were promoting the other Jedi too as well.
Indara, you got a lot of promo. Yeah. But
please, bro,
yeah,
don't let Soul die.
They also said one other thing I thought was definitely worth talking about was that they said explicitly May does not turn good in episode 4. She simply gets tired of her presumed pointless missions.
Yeah, so I definitely would agree that she isn't like, I'm going to be a good guy now and I'm going to be a Jedi. She's just like, okay, this is boring. I don't want to do this anymore.
She's going rogue.
That being said, I did personally think that it was very abrupt, her like change in heart and being like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just gonna go clear my name to the Jedi.
Yeah.
But I have a theory on that, and which I'll share. I just want to get your guys' thoughts. Did you think it was a little too quick, or?
It does happen pretty quick. It's like Anakin. A weird. Yeah, you say that because Anakin in the movies, but then we get the Clone Wars, and it's not quick. It's a slow burn. But it's I don't know. It happened, but it didn't bother me. I was just kind of like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely kind of took it more so just as like there's so much more that's like to this than what we know right now. And we'll figure it out in the next few episodes for sure. But I was just like, oh, okay, she doesn't want to do it, whatever. Well, because part of the dark side and the allure to the power is it's all about yourself anyway. So why do I have to kill these Jedi when I can just learn how to do the Force on myself and become this big bad Sith person? And I don't need my teacher.
Sorry,
Low key,
Vi
I
and Ray
do,
are hanging
I
out.
do think though May's only motivation is Osha. I don't think that she wants to be a Sith or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that OSHA's alive changes everything, which again, very weird that it's like, how could have OSHA survived? And it's like, you're the one that fell. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Clearly there was some confusion when there
Well,
was the
because
falling and the
right
burning.
after it looks like Osha's gonna fall too, but Soul saves her. So
Yeah.
So I've got a couple
Yeah, yeah.
theories that I'm gonna spin
Hit
the
me.
block on y'all with. So the
Spin the
first
block.
one, I think that Osha and May might be like Jackson. I think you mentioned it, like a yin and yang.
I
Um,
mentioned the Discord. Yep.
so in episode 4, right after Osha has her conversation with Yord, which by the way I thought was a really good conversation.
Mhm.
She tells Yord, "Hey, like I understand that, she's killed Jedi. She's dangerous. Like I can't kill her, but if it comes to it, you need to do it." And right
Yeah.
after Osha has that conclusion, May all of a sudden is like, "Yeah, I don't want to kill these Jedi anymore. I want to go be with my sister." So I think that they're just in this like perpetual like opposite motives, and that when one switches up their motive, the other one goes the opposite direction. Like Osha wanting to be
Uh,
with the Jedi, all of a sudden
yeah.
May is acting dark side when they're kids, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you because you don't want to be a witch." And I feel so. I mean, hey, it's just a theory. I could see it going a different way, but it's interesting how it's played out so far.
No.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I definitely think that there's a lot of validity to that theory too, just because again, there's the baseless uproar online about the chosen one theory being usurped. And I feel like this episode very much hints that this is a completely different prophecy. It's probably a bunch of different prophecies in the Force that we don't know, but only people who were really in tuned and cared about it, like Qui-Gon, knew that that was a thing to begin with. I feel like maybe that's what Kilnaka was researching to begin with or trying to understand, like how also Rey and Kylo were a dyad in the Force. So maybe also neither of them can survive without the other.
Right.
Maybe in reality, May was falling and dying, but she can't die because Osha's alive. And so if
Yeah.
one dies, so does the other. So there's no good end for either of those characters either.
Yeah.
There was a vehicle with a loud siren going past my house.
Oh,
I
okay.
have another
Jason's
theory,
spilling
and I
water.
really want. I've been cooking with this theory, and I really
Okay.
want to hear you
Okay.
guys' thoughts. If the show doesn't play out this way, I'm completely fine with it. But so I was thinking, we saw Kelnaka with
Yes.
the had the symbol of the witches on the walls, okay, of his
Hmm.
house. So there's some sort of connection there. I'm wondering because if
Okay.
you think, remember back when all the witches were killed and we didn't get
Hmm.
a definitive explanation, I feel like we as the audience are being led to believe that the Jedi killed the witches. What
Yes.
if it's been the Sith all along pulling the strings? Because we know that Darth Plagueis and his master, Darth Tenebris, which would both be alive at this time in the Star Wars canon, even
If
though
they're
the
made
book is
alive.
not canon. What's that?
If they're made alive at this point in the canon.
Yes. They technically would be, according to Legends material. They were seeking out, as Palpatine told Anakin, the secret to creating life using the midichlorians. Now, if you think Darth Plagueis is the one that figured that out, maybe I think that this Darth Smylo-Ren dude
Yeah.
is I don't think he's the master. I think he's the apprentice to a greater Sith.
Yeah.
And I think that it's either Plagueis or Tenebris. I think that what they're trying to do is make sure that everyone that knows about this power that the witches possess to create life using the Force is killed so that they are the sole ones that have the knowledge of how to do that and how to perform that act. So they killed all the witches, and now May and Osha are a loose thread. And so they're making sure
Uh,
that all the Jedi are killed that were involved and had knowledge of it. And eventually they would obviously just use May as a pawn and kill her too. So that they can have the final the definitive knowledge just to themselves, and the Sith would have that power, and the rest of the galaxy wouldn't be able to have it.
Mm,
That's my theory.
Okay,
That's my theory.
that's a good theory.
yeah, I agree. I feel like that's good too. I've kind of been leaning towards the camp that maybe at the end of the show, whatever apprentice or Sith, I keep putting in quotations when I mention it online, that we're seeing now do all this, maybe at the end of the show it'll be like a oh yes my master kind of a thing, and we'll see like who it is. Just because again, like at the point in the timeline, it would make sense if Pelagus were to be alive. But again, nothing is officially canon until it's put in a like an on-screen adaptation. That's why a lot of people were getting like up in arms about Ki-Adi-Mundi too, being like, how could he be alive? And yada yada yada. But it's they can change that. None of it's canon just because it's in a comic book or in a book, because as they've shown before, like with the Ahsoka books or with the Kanan comics and such, they'll change it if they want to. So nothing they write down is set until it's on a screen.
There's been much more major things that's been retconned than the age of the males
Yes.
of the Sarian race.
Yes.
There's been way bigger. I mean, the way that Order 66 happens to Kanan is completely different than it was in the
Yes.
comic books. They've completely changed things with the new canon. I mean, Star Wars has been retconning stuff since day one. I mean, they changed the name of the original movie from A New Hope to Episode 4, A New Hope. Like, that's just Star Wars has been retconning and changing its canon for as long as it's been around. So don't fall too deeply into, which, by the way, do we want to talk about the Ki-Adi-Mundi cameo? Because I thought it was pretty dope.
Yeah, I thought it
I
was
think
cool.
it's neat. And I think it's interesting too that this is a small council of people that aren't like on like the high council for like masters. And yes, these people are Jedi masters, but they're not on the council that like Yoda might be on.
Right.
So they're trying to keep it all very hush hush. So then their political opponents obviously don't find out. I would love to see this like super high Jedi council get involved. Yoda, please, if he's on it at this point yet, which we won't know. What are you showing off?
The V.
It's Vi Marati.
Oh, okay. The person from the books.
The Backspire book. Yes.
Yeah, nice. That's cool.
I'm re-listening to it right now, so now I actually see her. I'm like, that's really cool.
Very neat.
But so what did we all think about Darth Smiley's first appearance?
Dude.
Dude. Mary Poppins intro.
Well, my new favorite thing was there was this I was talking to a friend, they're like, it's so dumb that he kind of floats in like that. That's just not a thing. I was like, Vader at episode 5, Count Dooku in Clone Wars 2003. I'm like, you're dumb. It is a thing. I'm like, it is a thing.
And I'll be real with you. The only reason people are saying that's stupid is because that was Star Wars Theory's immediate reaction when he did his live reaction to the episode. That was the first words out of his mouth when it ended were that it was stupid that he floats down to the ground. So that everyone is just word vomiting that thought. Which if you thought it was dumb, you thought it was dumb. And but whatever. I know a lot of people are just saying it because they heard someone else say it.
Yeah.
I thought it was
it's
dope.
Like the stopwatch in front of your face. Listen to what I have to say. Repeat everything I say about Star Wars.
But he was dope. I felt suspense. I felt that was like the first like really strong feeling I felt watching this show.
Yeah, I was just like, I got goosebumps because like that design is so cool.
Yeah.
And that shot with that push in with just the red saber, just the form and profile, that was so sick.
Yeah. I feel like it made us. Oh, my bad.
No, you good. I was just gonna say that it's gonna be one of my Kylo-Ren camp where I'm like, okay, dude with new helmet, new favorite guy. So that's how I'm feeling right now. Just the voice. Okay, my theory is I think it's the Kiersey, whatever the dude's name is. He's kind of like the Kamir. I think it's Kamir.
It is. I 100%.
Who's Kamir?
He's the apothecary dude that hangs out with May.
You're a spy. Did you talk to Vi already?
No.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Bro, someone's yapping at Jacob right now.
Yeah. No, but okay, I understand that theory of like, oh, it has to be the guy who's helping her. I'm I really don't believe that. I don't think it could be him. I think,
Really?
yeah, sure, he isn't there, and then suddenly the master's here, kind of a thing. I want to believe right now that whoever this person is who's training her, is someone even more powerful than they could have ever imagined. And I feel like the power of that too also comes from the fact that like when the Jedi are like all about to rush him, he literally goes like one hand, like very minor. It's like in Harry Potter.
Sorry.
Sorry, Harry Potter reference time. When they're learning their spells, you have to say them and like do the wand motion too. But as you progress, you no longer have to say what the spell is. You can just do it. And that's like a sign of power. And we've seen that with Jedi too. You can just use lesser hand motions if you already know what you're doing, kind of a thing. And you are that powerful. It's like a Yoda kind of a thing.
Okay,
And
well,
so
here's a thought. I'm gonna
okay,
push back a little bit. Here's why I
okay,
do think it's Kimir,
okay.
because one thing the Sith are good at is hiding their presence from the Jedi.
Yes.
Palpatine sat in the same room as Yoda and Mace Windu at Qui-Gon's funeral, and the Mace Windu and Yoda are literally talking about who's the apprentice and who's the master, and Palpatine is 10 feet away from them, and they have
Yeah.
no inkling of who he is because he puts on an act. I think Kimir's act is to be this dumb, stupid, like kind of like bumbling idiot, kind
I
of as
agree.
Palpatine was the super nice guy
Mhm.
senator. I think that that's
Hmm.
what his play is right there.
It's also the fact that in that final scene when the Acolyte or this Smiley Sith shows up, Kamir is the only character that was in that entire episode that isn't on screen in the same place with everybody else because he somehow got snared by something.
Probably one of
So,
Kanaka's traps.
That's
or
what I
did
thought
he
it
set
was.
it up?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, but did he set it up? Because it's weird that he's the only one who's not in that situation. He also is carrying a bag with him the entire time that it's never disclosed like what he's carrying, and it's the perfect size for a robe and a helmet. So it's also sorry, this little girl dressed up as a rebel started talking to me, and she's like, "I'm a spy." So I'm like, "Oh, I don't get to do this. I'm gonna act like I'm part of the so I muted myself and I was talking to her. I was like, "Are you gonna fly the Falcon? Or did you talk to Vi?" And then, dude, this place is fucking awesome. I love it here. Anyway, sorry.
I guess I can see that. I am certainly as interested as everybody else in the audience to know who this person is to begin with. But I thought I had something else to say.
Well, and
But
that's
it would
why
make sense too that now that the master knows about May's intentions.
well, and that's why I also think that it's obvious that it's Kimir, because I think the real twist at the end will be that Kimir was just the apprentice and that there is a
Yeah.
master above him that would be like a Darth Tenebris or a Darth Plagueis, like someone that's even more powerful that's hiding themselves away.
I think it would
It'd
be
be
really
mad.
cool if it was Plagueis, but I think
Yes.
the internet would explode. They'll be like, "They did it wrong."
Well, okay,
My
so
my Legends book is still Legends. No.
here's another thought that I have, and I kind of want your guys' thoughts on this. Super lore heavy. I keep seeing a big argument as to why people dislike the show is because Ki-Adi-Mundi says the line in The Phantom Menace, the Sith have been extinct for a millennium, which is 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people make the
Well,
argument that the Sith can't exist up to that point. But then I look at the Darth Plagueis book, and I'm like, but that directly contradicts. And Palpatine talking to Anakin in Episode 3 directly contradicts Ki-Adi-Mundi's statement. The Jedi just
well,
thought the Sith were extinct for 1,000 years. That doesn't
but
mean that.
also we're seeing in this these Jedi that we're seeing, they aren't the High Council. They're trying to cover this up from the High Council.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
the High Council reports to the Senate, and then there's all that. So the Ki-Adi-Mundi could still just be playing the long game. He might not want to admit it still, because if they are admitting, "Oh yeah, at one time the Jedi were being hunted and slaughtered before this war," that's another like weak spot in the Jedi and their confidence. So the Senate takes more power at that moment in time. He can't say that on the record. Same
I
reason why
also
Obi-Wan gives Anakin his assignment off record, because they don't want it connected to the politics. that they're like so intertwined with.
I also
That's
think
true.
that it's important to mention with that as well, um, as far as that goes, when Ki-Adi-Mundi's sitting at the holo table talking, the word Sith never gets brought up. The Jedi are
No.
so proud of themselves at this point in the timeline that they would never think the Sith have been extinct for like 900 years at this point. So
Hmm.
why would they think that it's a Sith? They talk about it being, maybe May was trained by a Jedi. Maybe it's like a Jedi splinter group, like because that's a thing that's
Yeah.
happened in comic books too, where there's a group of Force users that break off from the Jedi Order and kind of become their own thing. So I think that it actually fits really well, and I like that it's really cohesively connecting itself to the way the Jedi are in the prequels.
Hmm. And I
Mhm.
would even say, just to quote a bit from Rebel Force Radio, to think about Tartakovsky, Asajj Ventress. She's whooping all these people's like butts in this fight, and she has red lightsabers. She shows herself to Count Dooku, and she's like, "I am a Sith," and he's like, "No, you ain't. No, you ain't." So I feel like it's also definitely that treatment. Just because you have a red lightsaber and you know how to use the Force doesn't really mean you're a Sith after all. Because again, that's exactly how Ventress was in the beginning too, in Tartakovsky specifically, not the Clone Wars.
Exactly.
But you get my point.
Yeah. So I mean, and an acolyte is the level below a Sith apprentice, and we talked about that
Hmm.
in our Discord. We were talking about how Ventress is an acolyte. Savage Opress was an acolyte at one point. They are the apprentice to the apprentice. It's the way of kind of the loophole of the rule of two, if you will. I also kind of wonder, and I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts. Do you think that Kimir's mission from his master is to kill these Jedi because the real Sith master wants to stay hidden. So Kimir is getting May and using her as an acolyte to help him because he knows he can't kill these Jedi by himself. So he's
Well,
kind of
she's
using,
doing all
or
the yeah,
yeah,
she's
she's
doing
doing
all the
all the work.
lifting of finding them.
And she'd be a
Yeah.
scapegoat so the Sith can keep themselves hidden from the Jedi. They'd be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, some acolyte just came through, some like Force user just killed 4 Jedi." They would never connect that to the Sith
Yeah.
or anything like that.
It also
Mhm.
discredits the Jedi then because of a non force user in quotations technically is killing off the Jedi with not lightsabers but knives and poison and other means, then that brings the Jedi down on a hierarchy of power. So then the Sith could come in and be like, hey, these people kind of suck. Let us take in charge instead, and we'll make sure we enforce justice and protection because they can't.
Yeah, I really honestly, and the more we end up sitting here talking about it, I end up liking the show more and more because I think it's good Star Wars. I don't think it's like the most amazing Star Wars show. Like I wouldn't put it in the same category as like Mando or Clone Wars for me, but I
Mhm.
do still really enjoy the show. But the more
Mhm.
we sit here and talk about it and get into like the nitty gritty of the lore and stuff, it makes me really enjoy the show a lot
Yeah.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, when you get to discuss it, it's like American Psycho. It's a good movie, but then when you start thinking about it, it gets better. So
That's true.
it's
See, oh my
you
bad.
go.
I was just gonna
No,
say,
you go.
yeah, I'm kind of having that treatment too with my brother-in-law right now, just because he's watching it. He already had kind of like a negative view of like the sequels and such, and turn on the
Right.
first episode, he's like, "Oh, the main character is black, and all these people are minorities," kind of a thing. And like we're watching through it, and then he's like, "Oh, but they selected really good people to be the actors and actresses. Oh, these first 2 episodes kind of fire, kind of heat." He's liking the show a lot right now. So
That statement was wild.
I'm saying it how it is. Saying it how
Mhm.
it is. For some
Which,
people, they just think he was very much in the camp too that it's a DEI. DEI. I hate that that's the word that they use because it just sounds stupid in my opinion. Diversity and inclusion doesn't fit in all those letters, but
Um, I also I know that there was the whole thing I saw from a lot of reviewers that got to see the first 4 episodes, like with the press, were saying that there was going to be a big thing with pronouns in this episode, and I feel like similarly to how we talked about last week with the witches and how it was like so overblown. I also felt like this week's like episode, like the quote unquote issue that people were bringing up was so overblown. Like I was completely like, oh, okay. So it really just kind of speaks to why you shouldn't trust early reviewers sometimes.
Don't
Because
trust
they can be
major media outlets that like Star
Yeah,
Wars
when they
because they don't
It can
actually
be
like
very
Star
misleading.
Wars.
It was so misleading. I literally last week's episode and this week, I was like, Jen and I were watching it together, and we looked at each other like, and we go, "That's it. That was what there were meltdowns about. That's kind of
yeah,
crazy." Like,
it's like
I
when they
was.
say the Bad Batch is the darkest we've ever seen Star Wars. I'm like, it's not.
It's
It's
really
not.
not.
No.
It's
They
not.
had kids just because they had kids in prison here. Anakin was slaughtering kids in 03. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, let's.
But when you say that though, it
It gets
sounds
attention.
it gets you the clicks.
Yeah, it gets you the clicks because people want to hear, well, what else did you see? This was the darkest the Bad Batch has ever been. What else? Can you please tell me every bit of news you have on the Bad Batch? Tommy on the phone.
Live call from
Tommy on the
Hunter.
phone with live call from the 212 Hunter.
Hang on.
He's gonna
I'm
probably
recording
say, "Hey man,
podcast episode
sorry
actively
bro,
right
I
now.
fell asleep and I'm trying to get on the Xbox now. You trying to do the same?"
Sorry, bro.
Oh, if you've made it this far on the show, I would also like to plug and say that if you've seen our posts on Instagram or any other form of social media for the Buy the Merch segment that we do, we have t-shirts coming out that say, "It's okay to like the Acolyte." And I'm totally buying one. I put them intentionally at production value so you can get them for only $10, which is a steal, in my opinion, for a t-shirt. So we make
Yeah.
like 50 cents off of it maybe for each of the shirts, but I did that because I thought it would be funny if more people had access to wearing it. So yeah, buy it if you would like. Now that we have Tommy back.
Sorry,
I'm
he was
surprised I
asking
haven't
you.
seen what?
You go.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm surprised I haven't seen any like merchandise for the Acolyte, like period, and especially here. I thought there would at least be like some High Republic stuff rolling out to Springs, but there's like nothing.
They're
Interesting.
kind of bad on it. Like when Bad
Dude.
Batch came out, there was no merchandise at the parks for any of it. And I was always researching it too.
I need action figures from the Acolyte yesterday. I need them to make more action
Yes.
figures from the Acolyte, dude. I need it.
They're definitely waiting for
I
it to
need-
end to make whoever the Sith is.
I need
know.
Smylo-Ren. I need Smiley.
Smylo-Ren.
I need him. I want Vernestra. I want Kelnaka.
Young Ki-Adi-Mundi.
I want Torben. I want Ki-Adi-Mundi. I just think, don't you think it would look so cool just to have a shelf of a ton of High Republic Jedi? Like,
It would
I
be
think that
cool.
looks sick.
The Yord Horde. I'm part of the Yord Horde.
You know, I was
Oh, my
not
brother-in-law's a part of the Yord Horde. He loves Yord.
I was
I'm a
not
Yord
very
Hordian.
much of a Yord enjoyer. I didn't really have an opinion on him one way or the other. But similarly to how I really last week's episode really built up Osha's character for me. This week's episode really had some good scenes with Yord, and I loved some of the
Yeah.
stuff that he talked about with Osha when they're on Kofar. And they're kind of marching around, and they have some really good discussions, and it really just speaks to me that he really is tried and true, like the straight and narrow Jedi. And I really,
Mhm.
really like his character for being that.
I
can't wait
was
to see him
talking to
die.
some people. Yeah, some people were what? Some people were saying that they thought that Yord was the Sith. I was like, no, he can't be. He's in the
He's
scene.
literally right there.
And like he's in the scene with this. I still have to watch the episode for a second time. I only saw it once so
I
far.
know his name.
My favorite thing right now is light discussions with people, like some of my friends that like they're Star Wars enjoyers, but they sometimes watch Star Wars Theory, and they're like, "This is wrong." I'm like, "Well, actually,
I hate to break it to you. It's
not
not
wrong.
wrong.
So,
A lot
yeah,
of guys watch Star Wars Theory. They send us, they tag us videos of Star Wars. They say 1313. You don't know your Star Wars, but we in fact know our Star Wars because we're not beta
I hate
males
to
who
break
live
it
in
to
a
you. I
basement.
actually know Star Wars very well. I think I know
They
it
say-
better
they
than
say.
most. Better than most.
they say, "What do you want in your room?" I say, "A lot of guys."
A lot of
But no, I honestly I think Yord reminds me a lot of how Mace Windu's character was in the prequels, being like very by the code, and nothing comes before the Jedi rules and the Jedi code. And especially when Yord gives the line like, "In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you are under arrest." Like that to me, I think it's obviously partially because Mace Windu says that line in Revenge of the Sith that it like makes me think of that. But I just like having a character like that in this like posse of characters that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a Yord enjoyer now. I was a Yord despiser. Well, I joked online, and a lot of people liked my comments about like the shirt scene could have been longer. Ah, ha, ha. But I was just like, I mean, Yord's an okay guy. But after this episode, I'm like, okay, Yord's
Yeah.
cool. He's cool. I'll probably get the figure of him in Soul now.
Right. I'm also enjoying Jacky's character, the Padawan.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the moments that she had with Osha. And again, this is all being built up so that she can die. But I think I really enjoyed the moments that she had with Osha as well. I like that kind of like sisterly bond that they have. Because Jacky's still like, I would say like probably like Ahsoka's age at the beginning of Clone Wars, like
Yeah,
13, 14, just getting into things. She's Soul's latest apprentice. I really, really enjoy her character.
it's good. It's a goated show right now.
Yeah, overall, I'm like really, really enjoying it. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have any member berries to it that are like clicking me. It's all new, and it's a fun watch. I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking where it's going. Well, I was a little bit upset that the runtime was a little shorter this episode, because I was like, oh, I just want more. I was like, like the second it ended, I was like, I need the new episode to come out like now.
They said that they're going to make up for it next week, right? Because I think next week's going to be longer.
Probably.
A couple more beats from the episode I did want to touch on. What is your? Because there was remember the beetles, those gross ass beetles in the forest?
Yeah.
The
So
pill bugs.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
The
what's
roly
your?
polies.
Because Osha has this whole thing, this whole exchange with Jackie after Soul kills the beetle. She's like, everything, like, "Ugh, I touched the beetle and now it's dead. Like I did that because I sensed it and I
Mhm.
touched it and now it's dead." And Jackie kind of has a different view on death. I feel like that was an intentional conversation. Like I feel like it's gonna pop up later.
Maybe
I'd have to
that's
watch it again
something.
because I don't remember it.
Oh, that's something I actually did remember. I just didn't remember it for the episode.
Right.
But I very much took that as like an ignorance point of view. Like the Jedi are like, oh yeah, you die and you become the Force. Like it's okay, kind of a thing. Whereas it's like, no, but that thing was living and it's my fault that it died. And like if I could have done something differently, it wouldn't have died. It's just an animal, kind of a thing. Where the Jedi are very much like, oh yeah, you just joined the Force. It's okay. Like death isn't a huge deal. I feel like May is very much, for me, it called back to a lot of my atheist classes where it was like, hey, like you shouldn't be so like nonchalant about death because when you die, no one actually knows what happens. And like this is the only life you have. So do things that matter to people and be a good person, kind of a vibe. So that's very much how it felt for me.
Be a good pill
like,
bug. Be a good pill
Yeah.
bug. Chill on that
Be
tree.
a good pill bug. Chill on the tree.
Did I tell
Don't
you
let
guys
people
about
touch
Todd?
you. Huh?
Did I tell you? So I go into work at like 6. There's no. This is very much pill bug pilled.
Pill
So
bug pill.
pill bug core story. I get to work. I'm like sitting there in my break room. A little cockroach runs by, and I was
Oh,
just
I
like,
hate this.
and I was just like, I mean, he's not bothering anybody. I was like, I'm not gonna do anything about it. He's just chill. So I named him Todd, and Todd's running around. He kind of looks exactly like the one from Wall-E. So I was like, he fits. He's allowed to be here. And then my trainer comes in and she sees it and she's like, ew, kill it. And her husband's just like, okay, and then just stomps on it. I was like, no. So now I have a gravestone hanging on the wall and there that says R.I.P. Todd.
Fun fact, when you step on a cockroach, you better check the bottom of your boot because sometimes cockroaches, when they die, leave their eggs on the bottom of your shoe.
I know. I told him that, and then he put a paper towel down on top of it before he stomped on it. So
Yeah, so and then the last thing obviously that I wanted to bring up was Basil.
Basil is funny.
I thought he was
Basil
chill. I thought he was chill like
is a
that.
goofy little thing. He's just doing his own.
Dude.
It's like a groundhog. I think it's cool they have trackers. That's a cool idea.
He's a civilian, just a guy that they
Civilian clothing for Jedi
indentured
missions.
servant. Indentured servant. Ugnaught head ass.
I think it's cool that they so in the Thrawn Ascendancy books, the Chiss have their skywalkers. That's how they're so fast to get around. That's why they have military superiority. It's kind of like how the United States is. United States is with our 11 aircraft carriers, and then everybody else in the world only has 3 because we're just built different. But so it's because they have the Skywalkers. That's like their close secret. Nobody knows about them. So they hire guild navigators, which are like people that are somewhat force sensitive, to navigate like through hyperspace for them. So I kind of think it's cool that because we're in an era of old tech before hyperdrives make it to wild space, we're also seeing things like that. Like we see trackers and we see trackers in like the Mandalorian and things like that, like things like ways just to track it without putting something on it. So now we have like, we're hiring like specialized people to do our like military missions. I thought that was really cool because it connects kind of to the Ascendancy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
correct.
I agree.
That's super cool. I'm just trying to make sure that I covered all my thoughts on this.
It's a funny furry little dude. He's just meh, meh, meh. It's like when you hurt a rabbit or rabbit gets scared and go meh, 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 like really loud. That's kind of the vibe I was getting when he was doing that, which was funny.
But I mean, hey, I think that's all my thoughts on this week's Acolyte episode. I am gonna right now. I'm at like a solid B for the show.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. It's very good.
Fair grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good show. And again, it's like when we make all the tier stuff. Not to say that some shows are horrendous. There's just so many to rank at like once, kind of a thing. But my thoughts will lie till the end of the series, and I give it my final judgment. And I will not judge it on its quality like every other person saying the canon is forever broken, but the show isn't over yet. So
just remember,
just wait.
It's okay to like the Acolyte.
It's okay to like the Acolyte and buy the t-shirts.
The Shinies. I hate the Shinies.
I might actually buy one of those and wear it to ICC or Star Wars Celebration. I was thinking of wearing it one day to Celebration.
ICC. I think everyone agreed. I think Hendrix, Hybrid, Hunter, and everyone's gonna go like all together. We're all gonna on the same day wear the "It's okay to like the Acolyte" shirt to ICC.
That would be so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would just have to carry that thing on us because we might get ambushed by true Star Wars fans.
True haters.
True haters. It costs nothing to be nice, but it also costs nothing to hate.
True that.
I think with that, I think that's all our thoughts on the Acolyte this week.
Next week will be a banger.
Next week, maybe I'll be back in Batu. Who knows? Maybe I'll be with Kylo. I tried to get him to come today and he wouldn't come. I was like, dude, you could be on the podcast, surprise guest, but be on Batu. He's like, I wouldn't be on camera. I would just nonchalantly walk through the background every so often and wonder if anybody notices. So
did he do that today?
No, I wish. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Please let us know what you thought of this week's episode of The Acolyte. We're loving it. We hope you are too. And if you're not, be civil in the comments below as to why you're not.
Make sure to give me those sweet hate comments like you did last week, and I will bless up for giving us more reach in the algorithm. I think our episode from last week has over 700 views.
I want to thank the haters. You make us better.
Podcast episode we have ever done
all time. That was insane though, but that was the best performing episode. Shout out the haters. You make us big. You make us blow up. We get more subs because of you. Thank you.
As of recording, right now it's at 735 views. Last week's.
I need to respond to a comment from that too. I forgot.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.